So today, the Supreme Court, the highest in land, made the decision that Colorado's decision to remove Donald Trump from the voting ballot is basically null and void. In other words, in a sweeping 9-0 decision, they basically told him, look, you don't have the right to take away the power to vote, for whoever people want as president away from them. You don't have that right, And they even basically said, and other, news outlets have all, basically said the same thing, whether they're for Trump or not, that what this really will do is basically have the Supreme Court, point out that, well, if we let Colorado do this, who's to say, Kansas won't do that to Biden? Or who's to say Wisconsin won't do that to Biden? Or who's to say, Oregon won't do that to Nikki Haley? Or, or Washington, the state of Washington won't do that to Joe Biden or, whoever else is out there, on the ballot. Who's to say they won't do this or that, if we allow this? Basically, they're telling them, look, this is not, a good message we're sending to the American people if we're basically going to allow this to happen. So they decided, no, that's not going to happen. It's not going to work. He's reinstated whether you like it or not. And by making this decision, they basically sending a message to all the other states that are pending and the other state that already went through with this, that being the state of Maine, that, yeah, you might want to reconsider your decision making here. You might want to reconsider essentially, what your course of action is going to be when it comes to trying to, prevent Trump from becoming president, And look, when I look at this, and I've mentioned this before in a video, I think even in a Topics on My Mind live stream or recording, I have said that I believe, and this is just speculative theorizing, I believe what this really is, because when you look at who's leading all this, what this really is, and I say it with all due respect, no offense, I think what this really is at the end of the day is just a bunch of women in political power that are using any political pull they have to get back at Trump for what he said about women and how he treated women prior to his first term as president. That's what I think it is. It's not just a case of showing women power and all that, or girl power and all that. No, it's not just that, if you're considering that being a reason. It's not just that. What it is mainly is them getting back at Trump for what he said about women, how he treated women, how he talked down upon them, how he, disrespected them and insulted them. And honestly, all Trump has to do is look himself in the mirror and realize that the reason for all this happening is because of himself, that he has no one else but himself to blame. And now, because of what he's done in the past, even prior to his first term, it's coming back to haunt him. It's coming back to basically give him karma in the worst possible way and at the worst time. And I have yet, and I don't know if he will eventually, but I have yet to hear him apologize for that. And I think maybe, and maybe this is just me daydreaming, I'm thinking maybe if he comes out on a major public forum, during a primary or a debate or wherever, and one of the first things he does is publicly apologize for the way he's treated women prior to his first term. If he comes out and does something like that, maybe, just slightly maybe, those that are, trying to go after him might, slow that down and be like, it's about damn time you took responsibility for your actions. Because I think honestly that's all these people, women and men to an extent, want. All they want from him is an apology, for his prior actions. But I don't think any of us have heard an apology come out of his lips yet. Now, with that said though, the unfortunate situation for those that are trying to remove him from the ballot is with this decision today by the Supreme Court, it basically sends a message, like I said earlier, that they cannot pursue potentially any further action of disqualification. They can't. Now, some might think, well, Colorado didn't go about it the right way, and Maine, by extension, didn't go about it the right way, but we'll give him, legit reasoning why he has to be removed. They might still try to go through with it, but, obviously after today, it's not going to matter how big your state is, how many Democrats or Republicans, outnumber the other or vice versa, whatever the case may be. It's not going to matter because the same result's going to come out. The same result's going to come out that you do not have the power to do this. You do not have the power to take away the rights of people voting away from them. Because as I mentioned earlier, I think I mentioned this earlier, or I mentioned it in a prior attempt at recording this video. Basically, it's because of the fact that, if you do that, then, and we allow it, then we basically be allowing all the other states to do something similar. And not just for a Republican, but for a candidate from the, the Green Party or the Liberal Party or the Independent Party or a candidate from the Democratic Party. We'd be allowing that to happen to any of those candidates too. So it's not right. It's not fair. Everybody deserves an opportunity, whether you agree with it or not, or whether you love the guy or gal or not. So yeah, some states might still consider going through with it, but in the end, I think what this does is it sends a message of be careful of what you do when it comes to deciding how you want to handle the whole Trump, Biden, Hale, situations, how you want to handle them being on your ballots. Do you want to go through the same process that Colorado did and be humiliated? Because that's what Colorado, did here. They got themselves humiliated. They shot themselves in the foot. And by extension, they shot other states that are considering this in the foot, or basically they basically killed and destroyed their efforts, potentially. And basically, they said, for Maine basically is being humiliated right now because of this decision. And the lady that did this of her own accord, apparently, the lady is, basically probably, throwing a fit right now, knowing that she's going to have to basically allow the Senate, the state Senate there in Maine, the state Congress in Maine, to, change that decision, basically reverse that decision and put Trump back on the ballot. She's not happy either. And she's someone that's being considered for an impeachment or removal from her position of power because it seems that her goals are more self-centered, and more for her own interest than anything else. And then you're taking a look at what's going on with this lady in Fulton County right now, this Willis girl, who's trying to, take Trump to court because of his election interference in 2020 to overturn the results. You see what's going on with her. A lot of things are coming back to bite these people, for leading these efforts to get rid of Trump or get him off the ballot. And again, it's ironic, and I say it with all due respect, no offense, it's a bunch of ladies that are leading the charge. And I believe what it is, speculative theorizing, I believe what it is at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of these women in political power that are using the political pool to get back at Trump for him talking down upon women, when, prior to his first term. Where he basically, disrespected a lot of women out there, by insulting them and saying this and that. And they're also taking, his wife's, reactions towards Donald Trump as incentive of, even she don't like his ass. So it's just one of those, situations that, again, Donald has no one but himself to blame. Because if this is the real reason in my speculative theorizing, then again, he has no one but himself to blame. And all he has to do is look in the mirror and realize that. But yeah, unfortunately, whether the lady behind the Colorado decision likes it or not, they've got no choice but to put Trump back on the ballot. That's it. They have no other choice. They have no other choice but to put him back on the ballot, and be done with it. That's it. They have no other choice. I mean, I know I know it's a decision they don't want to have to. I know it's a decision they don't like. They didn't like hearing, I should say, from the Supreme Court. But what are you going to do? What are you going to do? The Supreme Court's basically saying, like I said earlier, you do not have the power to do this. This is not your decision to make. It's the people's decision. And if we allowed it to happen, we're allowing all the other states to do it. And that's not right. But yeah, this is just, again, this is just Colorado in the public eye, and by extension, all the states that are pending, all the states that are considering, and even the state that went through with that outside of Colorado, that being Maine. This is basically all of them being shot in the foot, having all their efforts, pretty much thrown down and flushed, or thrown into and flushed down the toilet, and it's going to make this, the Secretary of State in Maine, it's going to make her, have a lot of egg on her face when she realizes she's got no choice but to allow him back on the ballot, because that decision is going to get reversed, as a result of this. And we all know it. I think we all know that. But let me know what your thoughts are. How do you feel about the Trump decision, being made in his favor? And do you think, by extension, this sends a message to the states that are pending on their decision to do something similar? Do you think it's sending a message to them that they might want to think twice before doing it? And do you think this sends a message to the lady in Maine, the state secretary there, that you might want to rescind your decision? But let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below, and I am out.